So guys, come on, there's another show and another very cool guest today we have. Today with us is Alexander Scott Felice. He's a rental real estate investor in North Carolina. So anybody who is from there, we can maybe just knock on door and say, hey, maybe don't do that, but a career banker, most recently working in SBA underwriting. He intimately knows the financial and risk analysis side of the business. Alex started buying single-family real estate in 2016 and closed a mid-sized multifamily in 2019. In 2017, he popularized the delayed finance exception for BRRRR investments. So maybe you can explain people what the BRRRR investments are. Alex is an intense and eccentric guy, an avid reader, likes to provide polarizing viewpoints and is known for the very non-BS attitude. So looking forward to that, where I can already sense that. Alex runs the cultural phenomenon known as brokerisAchoice.com. So go and check it out, the website. Appreciate you being here today. I know it's kind of early, so thanks for committing and doing this, spending a quality time here with me. Thanks.
Thank you for having me. Very excited.
Awesome. I hope you are, because I'm super excited. I would love to hear your story, because I like everybody that we have on the show, they have very cool stories. And again, I mentioned the backgrounds. I would love to go more into detail, like what you have going on there, but maybe we can, go through this question and maybe you're going to explain your journey in real estate. So maybe you can give, just a short story. How did you ended up being in this position and owning all these real estate properties?
Yeah, not too complicated. I mean, I was like a lot of people in America, a lot of people living week to week, living month to month. I thought I was about 30 and I thought I should have had some money by then, and I had none and no skills and no talent and hated my job. And it's just like, well, you can give into complacency and live in a job you don't like forever, or you can do something about it, get angry, do something about it. So I said, I got to do something, and I'm lazy, so I didn't want to start a business or sell something. So I said, rental real estate works. You can kind of do it without that much money, because you can use debt, and you can kind of I hate the way that light looks on my face. You can do it kind of with debt. You don't need that much money. It works for sure, right? The business model is 150 years old, maybe a little bit longer, where you can own a rental property and make money on it. And I knew it was a long play, but I knew it would work if I stuck with it. So I said, okay, let me start buying these little rentals. In 2014, I bought a foreclosure off the MLS that I paid $55,000 for, and moved into it with an FHA loan. So I only came out of pocket $3,000, which you really can't do that anymore, because 2014, the foreclosure market was much different, but that's what we did. And then I think a year later, it appraised for 115. And so I pulled a little cash out. Rates were still dropping. So at that point I was hooked, right? Because I had never seen, I made $60,000. It was an equity, but I made $60,000 in a year. I had never seen that kind of money. So I said, man, if I could just do this 10 times, I can be done with my work forever. I can, that's a good plan. I think a lot of people have that plan, get 10 rentals and retire. And that sounds good, but that's not the way that, real estate, every real estate plan you've ever made works on paper. Real life is much more complicated.
So what do you mean by that? Like, so what would be your kind of advice, for people? Because again, I would love to, just for you to go, maybe just dig deeper into that topic a little bit, because there's a lot of people watching right now this interview and thinking like, oh, look, like I'm in the same position. Maybe I don't live in the States. Maybe I'm from States. Maybe I'm from Carolina. Again, knock on door, and you can meet him and ask you a bunch of questions. I would love to do, the same, but there's people asking these questions all over the place now. Like, oh my God, like, because like, if you go and pop up like or Instagram on Twitter, you see all these like success stories, successful people. 16-year-old like guy is making 100K like on YouTube, like, and people like, oh shit, like I have my job and I'm just making the ends meet. And they see this real estate as a vehicle, as a tool for them to, just get free, from the job or whatever. So what would be your piece of advice, for people who have no clue what real estate business is? Where should they start?
The books. Start an education, because if you look at real estate and you think, oh, this is an avenue that I hate my job and I can get free. It's like, that's what I did, but you have to know that it's a long game, right? I mean, I started about that house in 2014 and I just quit my job in November. So that was 6 years. 6 years that I still had to go to the job, and I really shouldn't have quit, right? I don't have that much money yet. Like, I still have to kind of work. So that's why I started recently flipping houses to make income so I can live. So if you look at this as a get rich quick scheme, it is not, right? It works, but real estate is a super duper long game, right? You're getting mortgages that are 30 years old, like 30 years long. So if you look at this and you say, oh, I'm going to use this to quit my job, it's like, that is never going to happen. That is never going to work that way, where you're going to get a bunch of properties and you're going to quit in a year or two. The only way that works, I shouldn't say that, it works for some people, and maybe you're the fraction of a percent of people that it might work for, but that's incredibly unlikely. It's most likely that you're going to get one, you're going to make an extra $150 a month net on cash flow. And so you're going to need 15 before you can do anything where you can barely scrape by and quit your job.
Got it. I don't think it even exists, like people are talking about like this get rich quick thing. I mean, what the hell, like, what is that? Like,
nobody's ever got rich quick.
Can somebody, like, guys, if like get rich quick thing, can you post it in the comments down below? We'd love to hear that, because like everything is long term. Any type of business that you're running, like it's a long term play. I don't think, like, even though if there is this type of vehicle that you can get rich quick fast with, like what you're gonna do, like you're gonna get rich, like, and you're just gonna quit and you're just gonna travel the beaches, like like it doesn't make sense for me. So
the internet model lets people lie really easy.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you're on Instagram or you're on the internet and you're looking at somebody and you're thinking, oh, that person's just living the life I want to live, and they're rich and they have no problems, either they're working way harder than they seem or they're lying to you. Most likely both.
Both. Yeah, there's a lot behind the scenes work. I mean, it's all behind the scenes. That's why when we talk with you, we see, a successful guy who's doing well in real estate, but it's behind the scenes work that you don't see, most of the time. So, that's what it is.
Yeah, and I'm a jerk about it because I tell everybody that everything's easy. Okay, real estate, but I do it sarcastically.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. Here you go, guys. So it's easy.
It's so easy.
It's so easy.
Yeah, go ahead and do it. It's so easy.
Yeah.
So, but to go back to the original thing, like my whole plan was, if I can get 10 of these houses, I can retire. Well, I got 8 in 3 years. So I did pretty good. And then I realized that single family doesn't scale. So what happens is people get too wrapped up in their specialization and they don't stay nimble. And so if it's like, if you get set on single family homes, like, yeah, sure, but only for a little while. Then you have to go move into something else, because single family doesn't scale. Not at all. Terrible to scale.
Yeah.
So I bought a 24 unit and I found out that's too small. So I got to get that bigger. But in the last 4 years, the real estate market has exploded. So prices are up.
Yeah.
And, there's also volatility in the future. We don't know what's going to happen. It's very unclear what's going to happen in the future. So
yeah. And that's another question that I want to ask, because again, you just mentioned, it's so easy, guys. It's so easy to get in real estate. It's so easy. And it is. Like, if you have that mindset, of course, it's going to help you to get in real estate easier than just get the analysis paralysis, reading all the books, which like is the must to do. But like, don't get stuck in that position. Like, go and do stuff. So when you say it's easy, I love that, because it will make people easier to make that step. But, what about, again, you mentioned where we are, like economic wise, everybody's talking, we're in the top and everybody's waiting for this market crash, and like nobody has the crystal ball, so nobody knows when it's going to happen. But should people go into real estate right now, the new ones who like, they have no clue what to do in it, buy a house? Because, there's a lot of people went underwater when they bought some houses like 2008, right? So should they buy right now, or should they wait it out until the market crashed? Like, what's your advice on that one?
If you don't know what you're doing and you buy something, then it's just ego, right? I had a girl the other day. She goes, it seems like everybody's buying these places and it's like little badges, like a Boy Scout badge or a trophy. And I'm just hanging on how many numbers I bought. I'm just showing off how many houses I bought. Well, let me tell you something. You don't make money in real estate at the time of purchase. You make money in real estate every month when the rent comes in above and beyond the expenses. And that takes time. And so you can go off and you can get 1,000 units in your first year. but that doesn't mean you're going to make any money. We won't know if you made profitable deals for 3 years, maybe 5 years before you know that they're really profitable. So what people do is they find out about real estate, they hear that it's a vehicle to get rid of their job, and they know that it's popular, and so they jump in. What I tell you is spend 12 months learning. That's how you avoid the risk. You don't know enough. People don't know enough about risk, and maybe I'm biased because I'm a risk analyst by trade, but people get stuck in real estate books and they don't read history books and they don't read macroeconomics books. They haven't read Anti-Fragile. They don't know how to adapt to a changing market. Mm-hmm. So real estate's popular now. Yeah, maybe we are at the top. Maybe I don't know what's going to happen next, but I know that the best mitigator for those risks is education. And people spend too much time. I do not suggest you just run out and buy a house. That's the dumbest thing you can do. Yeah. I mean, if you don't know where we are in the market cycle and you've never done this and prices are up and you're new, you're the riskiest possible buyer.
Come on, Alex, but it's so easy.
It is easy if you do it smart, which means go slow.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe you can expand on that as well. I just want people, again, because when we have people on the show, just like yourself, we have people like all over the place, like you're doing the BRRRR strategy, multifamily construction, and everybody's mentioning kind of the same thing, the books and the mindset. So maybe you can expand a little bit on that. Just explain people how important it is to get the right mindset before you go invest into, anything.
Yeah, well, look, ego will sink you in this business. Well, ego will sink you every business, but ego is really is your biggest enemy. And by ego, I mean, it's hard for us to see sometimes because it runs our lives. But people want to read. They want to read a real estate book or two and think they have it, and it doesn't work that way. And there's too many memes out there about just take action, and that can be very dangerous. Like everybody in this business is telling you to go fast. Well, when everybody's telling you something, that's probably wrong. So if everybody's telling you to go fast, then you should really go slow. And if everybody's telling you take action, it's like, then read books. So what I tell people is, look, don't try to get rich in 2 years. Try to get rich in 40 years. If you can't afford to wait, then make some other changes in your life so that, if you have a job you hate, quit it and find a job you can stand. Real estate is not going to solve all your problems. It's just not going to happen that way. And it's a lot of responsibility because you got to sleep at night with a bunch of debt. And things go wrong 100%.
Oh, you see, that's exactly how it goes. That's exactly how it goes.
It's because I'm getting excited and banging stuff. Real estate is, things are going to go wrong 100% of the time. Like no real estate deal has ever gone smooth. And then the transaction has gone smooth the whole time. Like stuff happens. It's just the nature of the beast. So, I say all that to say, mindset is super important and education is super important. And taking your time to invest in these things is a better return than just going out and buying a house. I mean, you go out and what I see now is people buying houses in my area where I have no appreciation. You're not going to gain any appreciation in my areas. So you might gain some cash flow, but they buy a tight deal. So they get little appreciation, right? They get some cash flow. And they didn't buy any equity. They didn't buy it at a discount. Mm-hmm. So it's like, dude, you got nothing. You got $100 a month on a good day, on a good month. And it's never going to get any better. There's no upside to that deal. And but you want to go on the internet and tell people you had 5 units.
Yeah. I mean, people are playing most of the time on a best case scenario, which is supposed to be the opposite. You're always supposed to oh my God, what particularly with a single family homes. I mean, you have 1 or 2 people, maybe a family living in a house. And if something happens, which in a downturn, a lot of things happen, people lose jobs and people just move to different states because, and you don't have a tenant anymore and you have to cover the debt, the mortgage. I mean, things can happen roof can collapse. I mean, there's hundreds of things that can happen, and you just have this $100 that you basically you're just crossing the fingers and praying and wishing, which is it's not a strategy. Wishing is just maybe things will happen. So it's definitely, I love the advice because people have to, do the homework at home. And again, when you give an example of these people going and buying, the houses around your neighborhood, is, again, coming back to the same stuff. People telling other people, go fast, go fast. Like, buy stuff, buy now. Like, and that's where people make the mistakes. So, okay. So what are other risks, for the people who are watching now and thinking like, multifamily or construction or, whatever Airbnb they're looking to follow the strategy? Maybe you can talk maybe specific about your business. What risks are they involved when investing in real estate?
Yeah. Well, I do a lot. um, look, you have cash expenses on real estate. So you need cash, you need reserves. Like that's the biggest number one failure that all businesses face is undercapitalization. They just don't have enough money to weather the storm. So it's like 2008, right? It's not the day that everything crashed. It's not the day or the week that got you. Okay. It's the storm lasts 18 months where you might have, like you said, low tenant count, high vacancy. You might have something go wrong. You might have the bank want to refinance, da, 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 da. So you got 18 months you have to weather the storm. What if you have low rents or high expenses? You have to have cash. So people go into these deals with low cash flow and low reserves. Like I'm sorry, my friend, you're going to get flooded out. Like you have no exit strategy. You have no risk mitigation. So having extra reserves mitigates a lot of risk. So go in with more reserves than you think. You always go in with more reserves than you think. For me, a lot of the risk that I face in my business is honestly, it's just I could go buy more houses, but the prices are up. And so could I still make money on some of them? Sure. But the biggest risk I have is doing exactly what I'm telling these people to do is like, don't buy anything unless you know for sure, screaming deal. And they don't come around as much now. So you got to be patient,
And specifically
pivoting.
you're talking about the BRRRR strategy specifically, right?
Actually, I gave up on the BRRRR strategy.
Okay.
Yeah, I stopped because I did 8. Okay. I did 8 rentals. And then I realized first I was using the Fannie Mae long-term debt. Okay. So you can only have 10 of those mortgages. That's a Fannie Mae rule. You can't have more than 10. So I had 8 plus my primary residence, which I just sold, but I can only get one more anyways. And so when you start coming to the end of a strategy, it's like, dude, I didn't want to get all the way to 10. You just never know what's going to happen in your life where you need to go off and get a mortgage real quick or something, move, whatever. So I stopped buying single family homes because one, they don't scale, and Fannie Mae mortgages, you can only get 10. So I started buying the multifamily. Well, multifamily is, it's a different asset class. It takes you a little bit different understanding to run them well. And it's a more complicated transaction, and it takes a lot more responsibility because I have investors now. And so that means I have to go slower a little bit to learn. So I bought the 24 unit in July. It's now February, coming up on March. I think in July, 1 year in, is when I'll start looking for another one. And I'm going to go incredibly slow because everybody's overpaying for things right now. Every day. And then I quit my job. So I needed something to keep me busy because you need an active job and you need a passive job. My rentals were my passive and I needed an active job. So I started flipping houses, because I have a team in place that I can rehab really fast. So we start flipping houses for active income. But I gave up on BRRRR for the exact same reason, like kind of the reason that we're talking about. It's like the market changed and I have to change with it.
Yep. Exactly.
Also, people don't realize that how much of their success is based on the low interest rate environment by the Federal Reserve. So while interest rates continue to stay low, it drives prices up because people's buying power goes up and liquidity is rampant. So you can get money easy and cheap. Now, does that mean you should go off and buy everything? Maybe, but very much maybe not.
Yeah, exactly.
So on the BRRRR, you get 30-year mortgages fixed by the government, so they can't change. That's fine. But on a multifamily, you get a 5 or 10-year refinance period. So, what's the world going to look like in 5 years? Like right now, nobody knows. Nobody knows. And that debt is going to come up in 5 years. And it's like, man, if you have a tight deal and then you have to refinance in a worse environment, you're sunk. So when we bought the 24 unit, we bought a 10-year balloon to weather a lot of storms. And we bought it on 20-year AM. So in 10 years, the thing will be halfway paid off by the time we refinance.
Got it. So maybe you can, expand on the 20, is it 24 unit? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in Carolina. Maybe you can talk about, the property a little bit. How did you finance it? I mean, where is it, and what's the exit strategy on it? And, include basically for the people who are new and maybe are looking to get involved into multifamily, because now it's a very popular thing. I see like new investors coming up every day. So, and I definitely understand, it's easier to scale. And again, there's 24 units. It's not one unit. So you're not dependent on one tenant only. So maybe you can expand just on that. How did you find it? What did you look for it? And how did you close it?
My website, Broke is a Choice. Broke is a Choice. People bring me stuff all the time. So a guy brought me well, first I do video chat on my website for free. So people hit me up and they want to talk to me. So they make friends. And then a guy started buying single family deals in Fayetteville, where I live. He wanted to buy some single family deals and I helped him out. So we had at least a decent track record of making money. We both wanted to get into multifamily eventually. So then he called me up one day and he goes, "Hey, I got a 24 unit. It's not on a contract, but I have it access to it before it goes on the market." So we sent in a letter of intent. We bought it for $1 million, and I raised the money against from 4 other investors, him, myself, and 3 others. Not too much money. 280 grand. It wasn't much, but it was the first time I'd ever done it. So, you learn some lessons. The biggest thing was we wanted to get through the transaction, because getting through the transaction and understanding the transaction is the difficult part. But we made a lot of mistakes. But we got through it. It makes money, and we'll do better on the next one. I mean, I don't think you can get through this business. You can basically partner with somebody who knows what they're doing, and they won't let you make any mistakes, but you won't learn, because people only learn when it's painful. That's the only way people learn.
Yeah. Most of the time. Yeah. I mean, there's all these books that you mentioned that you can learn, but when it comes to like real life scenario, you're still going to make the mistakes. Definitely. And having the partners is super important. Like every time we have somebody on the show, they man, I cannot put it's such an important thing, because again, when I see people and they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to do, everything by myself," it's kind of a stupid thing, because
I love when people say they're going to do it themselves. I love it, because I know that they will never be able to compete with me.
Exactly. Great point. Yeah. So again, maybe coming back to the property, maybe you can tell people, how did they how did you find it? Like, what's the things that you're looking for? I love, by the way, that you did the 24 unit, because now people go online and they see all the syndicators. They like syndicating 150, 200 plus units. So 24 units, or probably even 16. I mean, you can syndicate it, but what is the things that you went on the property, and specifically maybe, when you toured, like what are the things you're looking for to differentiate, again, your investment criteria, if it's a good property, not a good property, because you walked multiple properties before, right?
Yeah. Well, like when you're new, you have no idea. So the building was brick, which we liked. And the building was kind of an older neighborhood, so it was stable. We went in not thinking about what we could make it better, but what we could do. For us, it was just, can we make this thing cash flow very safely? Can we have a very safe cash flow property? Because, when you're new at it, it's balancing the risk and the reliability, right? Because you got to make sure you got investors. Like day one, they're gonna be like, "What's up with this thing? How's it going?" Mm-hmm. So we went in, we toured the property. It's all brick. It's 24 units. It's basically 6 quadplexes in two small parking lots. I wouldn't do that again. It's all 1 bedrooms. I wouldn't do that again. Mm. We went in with a little bit low reserves. I wouldn't do that again. Other than that, it's fine. There's very little upside because it's a single bedroom. So always buy 2 bedrooms, or 2 1s or greater. 2 2s is probably, in my area, is probably where it would be.
How many square meters? How big are the rooms average?
They're like 600, 700 square foot.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're not bad. It's just they're single bedrooms. The old owner, the seller had crammed a bunch of leases in last minute. So like I have like 5 leases coming up in March, and those are the worst tenants.
That's the way they sell it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we knew that, but you don't appreciate it until you start like having to deal with getting rent out of them. So
Yeah.
we had a lot of late pays. We got evicted people. It's like,
Yeah, when you went through when you went through the due diligence process, did you get all the paperwork, the
yeah,
212s, like the rent rolls? Have you got everything, or?
yeah,
Yeah, everything was there. So
yeah.
how old is the property?
Oh, I don't know. 19. I have no idea.
70. So it's a
Yeah, something like that. Late 70s, early 80s.
so yeah, and what is location like?
Uh,
B,
it's
C?
a Yeah, it's a C property for sure.
C, okay.
Yeah, don't do it. Like, like people look at it and they say, "Oh, it's a 10 cap rate." Well, we bought it at a 7 cap rate, but it's going to kick off much more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people look at C class like, "Oh, it'll be a little more work, but a lot more money," and it's actually a lot more work and oftentimes less money, or the money's not worth it. So, from now on, I'll only buy B plus, very stable assets in areas that grow. I'll never buy another multifamily in Fayetteville. I'll never buy for cash flow again. That's not where the money comes from in real estate. The money comes from NOI growth and market appreciation.
Yeah. For multifamily properties, yeah, like the price is determined on an NOI, definitely. So, and yeah, well, what you mentioned is great, because like bigger is always better, like, and 24 units is a phenomenal, like that acquired it with the partners. Again, I don't know what's the exit strategy is going to be on that one. What you planning to do with it?
I raised $280,000 from people who don't need the money. So the exit strategy is in 5 years, we're going to look at it and we're going to say, hey, look, if the market is still up and people will buy this thing for more than we paid it, we're going to sell it because we're going to raise the NOI. We're going to stabilize the asset, which is pretty much, we're on the final stretch of that now. We did a bunch of rehab, a lot of deferred maintenance, got good solid tenants in there, and sold a better property manager. So stability, I'll look at it like in 5 years, we're going to say, hey, look, do you guys can we sell this thing? Can we just cash out our partners who want to get out? Or do you guys just want to hang on to this? Because what I'd really like to do, I think, is keep it in my name, eventually sell everybody else out, and I'll just keep it in my name forever. Just because I don't like to sell stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it makes total sense because many of the investors that we have previously, and everybody's saying the same thing. Like, man, I made a mistake at selling stuff. But that's the way, like, because you're looking to scale the business. Maybe you need to sell to go into the 150 unit deal, and then maybe you're just gonna stick and keep that one. So whatever makes sense. So for the people who are looking to get started in the business. You probably seen yourself. I don't know if you used or not a mentor before, but there's a lot of people offering these type of services out there. So what do you think, for the people who are looking to get involved into real estate, whatever that might be, asset class, should they go and get a mentor from a get-go?
Mentor is that's a complicated word. People, I don't know what you mean by that, right? Everybody means something differently. And
well, mentor, basically somebody who is established in the market space. They already have, experience in it. They have assets under management. They are active in the business, and they can help you to reach the same levels.
Yeah. Well, are they going to sell you something or are they going to teach you something?
They're going to teach you something.
So look, I have mentors. You can't do anything in life without mentors. Your parents are your mentors.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't do anything. You can't learn anything good in this life without somebody, investing in you and sticking by and teaching you. So you have to have mentors. Now, whether or not you should pay for them is a much different story. I write a lot for Bigger Pockets about mentors, actually, how to find them, what they mean, how to get people to invest in you. And so that's what you really want. You really want to find somebody who will invest in your ambition. Like, ooh, Alex is going to do, something. I want to be around for it. If you prove to people that you're going to succeed with or without them, then they want you to do it with them. So you have to make sure that you prove to people that you're a really good investment, and then people will invest in you. You have to have mentors. You have to. Now, how do you find them? Well, the internet and locally. So you have to go to your local meetups. You have to. You have to go to you have to online. You have to market online digitally and say, this is what I am and what I'm doing. And I don't mean, what people do is they get online, they start spreading out ambitious memes about, look how, wake up early and crush it and all sort of stuff. And And that's all good, right? But you know, you
Yeah.
want somebody to say, this is a young go-getter or a new go-getter, and I want to invest in them. So you got to walk that line between, hey, look, I'm new and I don't know what I'm doing and I need help. You know, you need to make sure people know you need help, not just, oh, I'm going to kill it.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to help somebody. Look, I'm arrogant as they get,
Yeah.
right? And it costs me sometimes because nobody wants to invest in the guy who's telling them I'm already a superstar. You
Yeah.
have to have mentors. You have to have mentors. Be a good investment. Be loud so people know that you need help. And you know, your mentors are always going to change. You're not going to find one person that's going to teach you everything. So it's a constant. You know what? And the other thing is, mentors aren't like, it's not a formal thing like like a teacher, right? It's your friends.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to make friends, genuine friends with people who are doing what you want to do, and they will take you along. But if you're going out there like somebody's going to sign up and say, "Oh, I'll be your mentor," like that's just not the way it's going to really work. Unless you pay them, and then that's a much different social dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Great advice. You know, if people, I'm gonna put some links below for the Bigger Pockets post. Gonna find them and just put below so people can go and check it out. Your blog post on Bigger Pockets. Great platform, by the way. So again, because it's a kind of important question, because again, there's a lot of people now involved in the business, whatever that might be, and you know, like I came across this guy, like I didn't do the thorough due diligence, was my mistake. And I made it the same like podcast interview with him, and he's like talking about, you know, notes and, you know, like flipping houses or whatsoever. And I posted the interview, and some other guy that, you know, we were working close, he was like, look, this guy is, he sent me the photo. He was like, he took the money from investors and he didn't pay them back. It was like, whoa, that's heavy, man. That's heavy. And he was like, you know, he had big problems. So, you know, because there's a lot of people like on the surface, and he still runs the show and he's doing the seminars. And I was like, what's going on? Because like, I'm confused because, you know, you just never know. Cause that's what I'm saying. I have so many people come up. And again, by the way, the interview is down, that the guy's gone because we don't want to deal with those type of people. But, you know, there's so many people I came across, they paid $37K, they paid $40K for the mentorship. And they're like, man, I didn't get anything like from it. You know, it was a
Yeah.
waste of time and the money, because I'm saying, you know, there's all these people, like I came across the one, you know, he's like on the surface looks awesome, you know, how I can provide you value and everything. And it's just, man, like behind that, there's all these problems and just fakeness. So you have to be careful, like you have to do the due diligence. But as you mentioned, there's so much information like online now. You can go and do the research about the guy and see all the way back where he even started, where he born, like, you know, everything is out there, man. Just do the research. So what about the people, again, who are looking to get that knowledge, but maybe they don't have that 37K, but maybe they can scrape, you know, $30 in the pocket and go and get a few books. What 3 business or non-business books would you recommend for people to go and get?
Fooled by Randomness. Fooled by
Hold on.
Randomness.
Do you want me to go on your Facebook and just recommend it myself?
What? No, I have a book list on my website. Hang on.
That's awesome. No, I
Um,
seen some books because I wanted to ask you about a few books that you have in here. Who Needs Theology? Is that the book that you're reading currently?
what is it?
Who Needs Theology? I see in Richard Dawkins, The Selfish Gene. I know that's a great book.
No, that's just my latest catch. No,
Yeah.
a book called Fooled by Randomness is a must read for new investors. Non-business books. Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Brilliant book. Brilliant book. Trying to think of something else that isn't commonly regarded. I'm not a big fan of self-help, and I'm not a big fan of real estate books, if you can believe it.
No. How do you,
No.
hold on. Come on. Did you go to this event? Did you go to this event? Don't tell me that you go to this event and you didn't read this book.
I went to that event and I did not read that book.
Oh my God. And nobody knows about it. We're going to cut the clip from that when you said you didn't read it. No, that's fine.
Why?
That's
Why?
I'm just kidding around, man. Don't worry. But you know,
Yeah.
most of the people that went to the event, they definitely know Joe because again, because of this book. Because it's again, you're in syndication business, so I thought you might read it, but that's fine. No
I've been on Joe's show.
yeah.
I was on the show. Look, you don't like, I work in banking, so I know how the deals get put together and I know how to do risk analysis. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Like real estate is not that complicated. Okay, it's not that hard. What's hard is what people get stuck on is they think they can read a million books and understand real estate, but it's not that way. Real estate is like, it's like an art kind of, right? You have to get used to doing it, and that takes experience. So you end up reading 1,000 books and you only need about 5. Okay, read Rich Dad Poor Dad. You're set. You know everything you need to know. There's nothing else you want to read. You need to learn in a book so much. I'm trying to think of another book that's not Nassim, because that's who I usually recommend. It's just Nassim Taleb over and over again. I have hundreds of books on my website. Look at Principles by Ray Dalio. That was a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, brand new.
I love Ray Dalio. Real smart guy. Or he wrote another book called Big Debt Crisis. That's a really good one.
Yeah,
education is important, but people get stuck on self-help and real estate. But real estate's not that complicated, and self-help is a waste of damn time. So what people should read is macroeconomics and history, so they can, because if you don't know where we came from, you can't predict the future.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? You don't know what's going to happen, and so
yeah,
people
it's cycles. Yeah, everything is cyclical.
A lot of it is cycles. A lot of it is people tell history. People explain the future through narrative, and narrative will get you in trouble. And so understanding that history doesn't really work on narrative is why it becomes a good risk mitigator. Yeah, I have a lot of books on my website, but those three are pretty good. Principles, Fooled by Randomness, Thinking Fast and Slow. None of them have anything to do with real estate, and yet they are far more beneficial to my real estate career than any real estate book could possibly be.
Got it. It's on the website. Broke is a choice, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Got it. So I'm gonna put a link for that as well. You can go, guys, and check these books. I'm sure I will be checking the list out, because I like reading stuff as well. So, but what you say is super important, like just getting to know. Again, people are talking about like getting rich. You see like the posts, like as you mentioned, like Facebook, Instagram, like everybody's like, oh, I want to be rich, and like, the mindset and stuff like that. But nobody's getting educated about the finance, about the economics, like how does it actually work? So again, it's more just a rah-rah positivity, and like, it's just getting the right education. And sometimes maybe, like books like the one I show you, again, it's a great book, by the way. I definitely recommend, because it has step-by-step like strategy for the people who are lost in the business. Maybe again, you're active, you have the experience, so for you to say, look, like I don't need the books, like but I have some other people on the guest, and they're like, oh my god, like you need the books, man. There's no other way you can start around, like there's no other way. So it's just in different approaches for you guys, like like one thing works for one guy, another thing works for another guy. So that's what it is. So but
well, look, here's my position. My position is, if you're going to read 50 books a year, which you should, which is what I do, right? There's not 50 real estate books a year. So what are you going to do when you finish you only need, if you read 10 real estate books, you'd know everything. What then? What are you going to do for the next, because if you're only reading to get this one thing done, you're missing the point, right? The point is to become a reader, and then you expand your knowledge like a spider web for the rest of your life. It compounds like you wouldn't believe. So what are you going to do after you read the first 10 books and you have 20 years left of 50 books a year?
Yeah. Oh, you definitely need to take action. I mean, you have to read it and apply it, like in business and life. Because if you just read for the reading, yeah, it's BS. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah. What about your business goals for for this year? Because it's kind of a fresh year, almost March, and coming back from this conference, which I'm sure you're recharged the batteries, got some new ideas, met a lot of great people. So maybe you can share a few of your business goals for this year that you're looking to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm gonna go hard on YouTube for 2020. That's my real estate goal. Prices are up, so I'm buying less, and I want to find a way to value add my business. That's a creative way to value add my business. So I'm going to go hard on YouTube and put all my deals on YouTube as a dynamic, like a storyline kind of event. We're going to flip a few more houses because I just started doing that and it's going incredibly well. And in July, we're going to start looking for another multifamily.
So how many units are you looking to close, before the end of this year?
Who cares? Don't know. That's ego. I don't do that.
Yeah. That's very interesting. That's a good approach. I don't care, but I know I'm going to close something. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. So maybe you can tell people, again, you mentioned the YouTube, you're going to go hard in the YouTube. Like, what's the reason for that? First of all,
YouTube is, well, did you, last year, Netflix lost their two biggest shows, The Office and Friends, and their stock dropped 30% in one day. And then they lost all the Disney shows because Disney decided they're going to open up Disney Plus. And, Netflix is in the FANG stocks, right? Netflix is Facebook, Apple, Netflix, and Google, FANG. It's one of the biggest tech groups that everybody bets on. And they dropped 30% in one day because they lost their two biggest assets. And I thought it hit me like a ton of bricks. Netflix is worth nothing. The only thing they have is a interface to share with you somebody else's intellectual property. And so once once ABC or NBC starts doing their own service, their own Netflix infrastructure, they don't need Netflix at all. And Netflix will lose everything that they have that's on it from NBC. Disney's going to do the same thing. And so what I learned is intellectual property is the most important thing in the future. Not real estate, not even close, intellectual property. And, maybe I'm thankful, maybe I'm lucky that I have an eccentric personality that I can do good on TV, but I'm going to go create my own intellectual property. So we have intellectual property. I know that people binge, right? People still watch The Office and the show ended 10 years ago. So people binge and they like to watch what they know they like. So you start YouTube now, not to make money on YouTube, but to make money on YouTube in 8 years. Because once you have a book of business, then people can go there and binge. Nobody wants to binge on your channel. If you have 50 shows, 10 shows, you need to have 500. You need to have 600. Or long, you have to have really high quality content, which takes time to get good at as well.
Yeah.
Also, YouTube is what they call evergreen profitability. Means if I'm still doing YouTube in 6 years, when people come see me and they go back, because they're gonna, and they go back and they look at episode one that I made today then becomes profitable. So I can make money from products that I built in the past. It's called evergreen. So all those things come out. And then lastly, real estate is hilariously underserved on video. So there's people doing it. And I know we all think that YouTube's been around forever, but it hasn't. It's only been around for about 10 years. It's brand new. It's like buying a GM in 1912, right? It's brand new. It might seem like it's been around for a few years, but it ain't.
Yeah.
Right? Just hang on to that thing. It's going to go up. It's just getting started. So you combine all those things and I say, Bigger Pockets only has 500,000 subscribers. They should have 3 million.
I think 1.4. Is it not 1.4?
No.
Something like that.
No.
Paid? You mean the ones that are paying monthly?
I mean, Bigger Pockets on YouTube, they only have about 400.
Bigger Pockets. On YouTube. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Right. So they're grossly underserved on YouTube, and I think that's going to grow tremendously. And I think most people are just not trying that much to go YouTube. I mean, they just now started trying.
Real estate space is outdated, man. The real estate space is outdated. Like, we work with the clients because I have the social media business and we work with real estate companies. And when I ask them that question, like, what marketing tools are you using for your business? They're just like, oh, I use this software, but they never mention like social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, podcast, blog posts. There's so many that you can leverage again and to reach different people because people consume information in different ways. Maybe I'm more visual. I like to watch stuff on YouTube. Maybe I'm more auditory. I like to listen on the way to work to a short episode of the podcast that I can digest. Some people like to read blog posts. That's what they do all the time. So you have to leverage because the real estate space is outdated. Nobody is using it. Just a few people. I showed you the book. So this is one of the people he has, I think, 2,000 episodes on a podcast. So been long enough, and everybody know him as this guy because he created the thought leader platform. And if people are going to do the same, they're going to thrive in the industry definitely because now it's so important to do that. Because when the market is going to tank, whoever is going to push themselves the most marketing efforts in the market like, even if your business is going to do bad in that time, maybe you're going to suffer a little bit, but eventually, because people are going to keep scrolling on a YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, they're not going to go maybe to the restaurants and spend the freaking money on some steak that costs, you know, $60. They're going to sit at home, have a takeaway, and just scroll on a feed, and they're going to see all over the place, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and they will start thinking about maybe the Alex is the guy we should do the business with. You know, because that's what it is. Whoever gets the most attention is going to get the most value, which is going to, you know, convert into the money and the deals and whatever. So
Yeah.
people have to understand the importance. It's a digital age now. So, you know, just go with the times, guys. So that's awesome. I love it. I love it. Can't wait to see the stuff that you're going to have, you know, on YouTube, and we definitely going to help you out to push it out. Is it still, is it up now? The YouTube channel that you're talking about?
Yeah, YouTube's up. I think it's Alexander Felice.
Awesome.
It's the flips. The flips are what we're really focusing on. So the first one should come out soon, and then we start the next one tomorrow, actually.
Fantastic. Oh, I see it. Yeah, I see you. So this is the channel, guys. We're gonna definitely put the link down below so we can go and check the videos. Love those. Looks great. Okay, so what other social media platforms would you, you know, give to people for them to go and, you know, follow you and go maybe ask some in-depth questions if they have any?
My website. You know, everything else, you know, for the same reason, you have your own website because it's mine. Brokeisachoice.com. Brokeisachoice.com. You can find me on Facebook and you can chat me there. That's where I do most of my nonsense, talking shit. But
wine and
yeah, I mean,
whatsoever. yeah, that's awesome.
Instagram, I think it's Alex Scott Felice, but I don't Instagram too much. I'm not, social media for me is like, I just like, I'm loud, but it's not, I don't have much strategy to it. I just know you gotta, I mean, that's where I make all my friends.
Yeah. We met on Facebook, so you know that's the way it goes here. So it's awesome, guys. I love it. You know, I love the time that you spent here with us. You know, Alex, today, and I can feel that you have so much more to give. Again, the knowledge, you know, the expertise in the business is just, it's awesome. So again, guys, if you have any, you know, questions that you want to ask Alex, go and find the links down below. You know, go to this website, which is brokeisachoice.com. I love the name, by the way. So definitely broke is a choice. So if you want to, you know, choose to be rich, go and check it out, the website. And I think you're going to find great, valuable content that will help you, you know, to come out the other end, which, you know, becoming wealthy and just doing well in life and business. So appreciate you, you know, Alex, being here today on the show. I hope you had a great time. I surely did. And guys, if you enjoyed the show, again, please like and subscribe. And I'm going to see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.